Merry Christmas, everybody! This holiday season, let's take a look at... I thought that thing was a fucking joke! Okay, look. I love me a good Christmas special, and honestly, I've probably seen more than most people in my country because, well, Christmas specials aren't really as big a deal here as they are in the US. Now, don't get me wrong, we still get Christmas episodes of shows, and there's plenty of Christmas movies available. And hell, we have a tradition of airing several 24-episode Christmas TV shows a year. But many of the famous specials and films aren't considered as big classics here as they are in the US, and they certainly don't necessarily get aired all day, every day like they do for you guys. But since I'm such a goddamn geek, I've tracked down all the classics over the years and watched them, and for the most part, I've loved them. The Grinch, Charlie Brown Christmas, A Christmas Story, you name it, and there's a chance I've seen it or at least heard a lot about it. But there was one I wasn't even really convinced existed until I found a few actual clips from it. And that one is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Oh, I knew about the song, and I always thought it was just a funny little parody song someone made that was moderately popular. Heck, most people in my country probably don't even know it. Best example I can think of is a trio of comedians doing a cover of it many years ago. So, imagine my surprise when not only did I find out about the music video, and that it is just one out of many weird as hell Christmas songs by Elmo Shropshire, but also that in the year 2000, some madman out there decided to turn the song where a sweet old lady gets drunk off her ass on eggnog and is then brutally trampled by Santa's reindeer into an animated family special. And I mean, you know me by now, I could easily have made a greatest Christmas specials video, or I could have picked a special from a franchise I already like and picked that apart. But morbid curiosity always gets the best of me, and I just had to see how a mad idea like this would turn out. And oh my goodness, it is far more glorious than I could have ever imagined. So, as the cheerful narrator tells us, it's the holiday season in Cityville, and we're in Grandma's wonderful little Christmas store where she entertains kids while the parents shop.
And that's me, Jake Spankenheimer.
Spankenheimer? Their family name is Spankenheimer? God, man, I tell you, last time I heard someone say Spankenheimer, they definitely weren't calling anybody's name. Ach ja, Fritz, bring me the Spankenheimer. Ah, yeah, that was a magical Easter. We also meet Cousin Mel, a pretty bitchy lady who seems to actually be genuinely allergic to common human decency.
This store can't get rich selling holiday pastries on credit.
I think what you're trying to say is this place can't get rich selling holiday-specific merch at all. Now, if you'd said stay afloat, you may have had a point. So, yeah, there's a little bit of family conflict over the true meaning of Christmas here, especially since Jake still believes in Santa despite his age. And then there's the Christmas tree that Jimmy Stewart over here brings home.
You're looking at the new inflatable Christmas tree manufactured by the Cityville Own-All Corporation.
Of course, Jake and Grandma aren't exactly impressed. And as for Grandpa, well, he's just kind of senile, I think.
We had to chop our trees down by hand. Never forget the time I had to use a beaver for a chainsaw.
A beaver for a chainsaw? Wow, sounds like giving Grandma that thigh blaster last Christmas really paid off. Well, to add more drama to the mix, Austin Bucks, the CEO of the Own-All Corporation, wants to buy Grandma's store and comes to visit to talk to her.
I'm sure she wants to see you, but right now, Grandma Elfenheimer is reading to the kids. Are you
laughing at your own joke? Was Grandma Elfenheimer that funny? What, did you stay up late every night for the last week to write it or something? Of course, Grandma isn't interested in selling, even if the dude dresses up as a troll just to have an excuse to interrupt children's story time. Cousin Mel, on the other hand, smells a chance to make some money.
Thank you. And you can keep the troll costume. Bye-bye. I've always loved a man in tights.
Ah, careful now, Mel. They have a habit of roaming around the forest looking for fights.
I tell you to put a cork in it, you greedy money grubber. But Grandma shouldn't talk that way.
But lucky for me, snarky YouTube assholes should. Put a cork in it, you greedy money grubber! And this is where we get our first instance of one of the weirdest parts of the movie. The completely random, wildly shoehorned in additions of the other Dr. Elmo songs. This one is about fruitcake.
It was denser than a drove, barnyard turkeys, tougher than a truckload of all beef jerky, drier than a drought in Albuquerque, Grandma's killer fruitcake.
While, to be fair, fruitcake is actually a plot point in this special, this song is awkward as hell and consists of nothing but super literal images set to the song. And that goes for every song included in the damn thing. What the actual hell? Cousin Mel isn't about to take no for an answer though, and she has a plan to force Grandma to sell. Poisoning her fruitcakes!
And with no customers, you'll have to sell, Grandma.
And with no customers, no one will want to buy the place!
Careful, Grandma. Don't drink too much eggnog without your medication.
Oh, Pooh, you'd think at my age you'd outgrow an allergy to eggs.
A little fun fact. This special was originally titled Grandma Chokes to Death Due to Anaphylactic Shock, but it was found that it didn't really roll off the tongue quite as well. Well, we're about to hit the actual important part of the plot, as Grandma plans to go donate a fruitcake to the homeless shelter late at night. As you can probably imagine, the song begins to play, and sure enough, Grandma gets run over by Santa's reindeer. And Jake watches the whole thing from his window.
Walking home from our house Christmas Eve.
Watch out!
You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe.
It was about this time I changed my name to Billy, got routinely beaten by nuns, and set out to punish the non-believers in my Santa suit. And in the end, isn't that what Christmas is all about? Of course, nobody believes Jake when he tells them that Grandma is hurt, though, to be fair, it probably doesn't help that he claims Santa did it, and that she's nowhere to be found.
Hit by Santa's sleigh. Yes, we've been drinking eggnog.
That said, the next day, Dad does call the police to get them to look into the matter.
And what did you see, young man?
Well, judging by your accent, I'd say he saw Steve Buscemi get thrown in a wood chipper. This whole scene with the cops investigating is just weird as hell. Not only do they not find Grandma, even as the song goes,
When we found her Christmas morning.
but they also have to consult an actual manual to check if Santa is real. Which, okay, I admit, that's kind of funny. Doofus the dog, no doubt named after several of the special's writers, does actually find a note at the scene, but Cousin Mel is quick to pocket it, and eventually, the police do mark it all down as a reindeer attack. Which is apparently listed as a 1224 in police code. So many months pass, Grandma is never found, and we get to see the family dress in black, including little Miss Lydia Dietz over here, and never open her presents in order to mourn her. You know, because nothing says heartwarming Christmas special like mourning a family member for 9 months. And of course, as we get closer to the next Christmas, Mel tries to sell the store to Austin Bucks again. But she needs Grandpa's signature since his name is on the deed. So she takes him to a nice restaurant to butter him up and get him to sign.
Sing?
No, sign.
Sure.
So sign.
I'd rather sing.
Grandma spending Christmas with the superstars since that reindeer ran her down that fateful night.
Okay, is nobody at this establishment concerned about the elderly gentleman singing about his supposedly deceased wife? Anybody? Once she gets Grandpa to sign, Cousin Mel wastes no time bragging about selling the family business behind everybody's backs, and Jake makes it his mission to stop her. So of course he follows her to Austin's office on his rollerblades in a ridiculously epic chase scene that had probably put a Jackie Chan movie to shame. Here he meets both Mr. Bucks and Mel's attorney, cleverly named I Am Slime, and begs them not to go through with the deal. And surprisingly, Bucks plays along.
You got it, kid. This deal doesn't close till the end of the week. A bit of advice. If you really believe Grandma was run over by Santa's reindeer, then find him. He should know where Grandma is.
Or at least I think he does. Cause I honestly can't tell from the voice actor's performance if he's genuinely being helpful or just being a condescending prick. Either way, Jake racks his brain to figure out how to find Grandma. And suddenly, he gets a bright idea.
To Santa Claus at SantaClausIsReal.com. Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is my grandma.
Ah yes, the famous SantaClausIsReal.com. A subsidiary of theearthisflat.org, owned by the world is run by lizardpeople.net, and hosted by elected officials keeptheirpromises.gov. Also, what? This special, which has spent half its runtime establishing that nobody believes Santa is real, now reveals that Santa has his own website and can be emailed directly? Look, stories where Santa Claus is real already have the inherent problem of having to deal with where people think the presents come from. But here we also see him actually reading the email. So, since he's real, we have to assume that he receives the emails and then brings presents accordingly. So it's not like the adults could then realistically write this off as just a fun little page for kids. by all accounts, this has to be an actual, genuine public company email address. And if that's the case, if Santa has a direct email address, why didn't Jake try this before? Look, I understand that this special came out in the year 2000 and email was still somewhat a new thing, so he might not have had that as his first thought. I can accept that. What I can't accept is the idea that a decently tech-savvy kid in the year 2000 never once tried to use the direct line of contact to the guy that he knows for a fact ran over his grandma for 9 months. You can say I'm overthinking it, and you'd probably have a point, but the way I see it, it's more that nobody writing this was thinking at all. This makes no sense even within the special's own rules. Never mind. Santa receives the email, and sure enough, it turns out Grandma has been kept at the North Pole this whole time, suffering from a powerful bout of amnesia. And apparently, Santa never brought her back because he didn't know who she was. What the? You're Santa! You make lists and you check them twice? Knowing who people are is literally your whole deal. Like, how the hell is that an excuse? Also, am I the only one who's noticed that there's another dude in that sickbay? Who the fuck is that guy? And don't tell me he's an elf, even if he kinda looks like one. Look at the bump in the sheets. He's way too tall for that. Unless he's Will Ferrell or something. Did you run over somebody else's grandparents too? How many grandparents do you run over in a year, Santa? What, do you have some kind of sick vehicular manslaughter fetish? What are you, a distant relative of Stuntman Mike? Anyway, one of Santa's elves named Quincy takes Jake to Santa's workshop to see Grandma. And to give us an E.T. parody for no reason. But sadly, she still doesn't remember who he is. But she still agrees to going home with him and foil the shop takeover, apparently for no other reason than she's fucking bored. Which is hilarious. So, on a hot September day, as the narrator informs us, Santa drives everybody to Buck's office to give him a talk. Surprisingly, Buck instantly believes his story and declares the sale is off. But of course, Mel and her attorney have some tricks up their sleeves and manage to kidnap Grandma while Jake, Quincy, and Santa are distracted. And just like that, Mel accuses Santa of causing Grandma's disappearance and has him arrested. Somehow. Oh, what? Did you think the special would end once they found Grandma? No chance. We still got 15 minutes of courtroom drama to sit through. I mean, hey, it worked in Miracle on 34th Street, so why not here, right? And what is Mel and Slime's plan exactly? Why, it's to keep Grandma holed up in a little cabin and then get Grandpa to sue Santa for all he's worth and get their share of the
Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. That's what Grandpa's gonna do. Woo-hoo! Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa, 'cause Grandma would have wanted him to. Woo! Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. He knows the law is on his side. Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. Santa's going for a ride. Oh, Lord.
Well, Jake puts 2 and 2 together to figure out Cousin Mel is behind everything and finds the snowed-over cabin thanks to his dog's sense of smell. Wasn't it a hot September day a moment ago? Jake and Quincy gets Mel out of the cabin by pulling an unfunny Little Rascals routine, and they manage to rescue Grandma and take her home, where she instantly regains her memory after eating her own fruitcake, because why not?
Jake, what am I doing here?
Grandma, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that is not the oh yeah of a kid who just got reunited with Grandma. That is the oh yeah of a college dude bro who thinks he's getting laid tonight. And I do not want to associate that sound with this picture. With Grandma's memory back, as well as the vial and the note Jake found in the cabin, they all go to put a stop to Santa's trial just as he's about to be found guilty. Because as we all know, in Movieland you could just kick down the door and present evidence in the middle of a trial and nobody will bat an eye. He gets the jury to taste Grandma's special fruitcake recipe, which Santa claims is what attracted the reindeer to her in the first place, and then he gets them to taste another fruitcake made with the stuff Mel put in it way back when. You know, the cake they just baked an hour ago. Because as we all know, in Movieland you can just kick down the door and present freshly forged evidence in the middle of a trial, and nobody will bat an eye. As it turns out, the stuff Mel put in the cake has the effects of reindeer nip, which drove the reindeer utterly crazy. So now Santa is cleared of both Grandma's disappearance and of running her over in the first place, but the prosecutor still asks Jake if he can explain why Santa kept her hidden for 9 months.
And I suppose Jake has an answer to the charge of leaving the scene of an accident? Slahicular negligence?
Doofus does. He's my dog.
What? I object!
Now look here, buddy. If Phoenix Wright can cross-examine a parrot, this kid's dog can present evidence. It's a fair trial for everybody! As a side note, while the dude is totally in his right to complain, I just love that this grown-ass man in a courthouse sounds like a whining 4-year-old.
What? I object!
Anyway, that note Mel hid from everybody? That's a note Santa left at the scene to explain what happened. Instead of, knocking on the door to the house she was literally just a few feet away from, or using his magical Santa omnipotence to know who she was. Anyway, with that, Santa is acquitted and Cousin Mel is arrested after confessing to everything.
That's what you get for being selfish and stupid.
Okay, you know what? I officially love this officer now. That is the best delivery of a moral I've ever seen in a movie. No lofty, flowery, poetic, holier-than-thou quote that people are gonna put on their Facebook walls for a couple months. Nope, just a character walking in and casually going, "That's what you get, bitch!" And that's the end of the story. Grandma's back, Bugs decides to franchise the store instead of buy it, which he should have done from the start, and the family is back together. But before the credits roll, Grandma opens a fruitcake.
Not that one! It's Cousin Mel's!
What? Oh no! Reindeer nip! Not again!
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Oh, come on! I already reviewed D-War! So, that's the end of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. It's a total train wreck of a Christmas special, but it's a train wreck in the best possible way. I don't know who thought of taking a joke song that was never intended for children and trying to turn it into a family-friendly special. I don't know whose fault it is that it looks like an animated $2 coloring book from a roadside diner, or why all the voice actors are so awkward that every joke they make, half of which are clearly meant more for adults than kids, crash and burn before they're even spoken. And I don't know why nobody questioned the complete lack of any logic present at every turn of the story. But I do know that the end result is hilarious for all the wrong reasons, and I just can't bring myself to hate it. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer is just as awkward as the song that inspired it, and it's a hoot to watch. And honestly, it can be kind of a breath of fresh air among the cuter stories in other specials. I do kind of think it would have helped if it was made for adults rather than kids, but I still had a lot of fun with the end result, no matter how bizarre it is. Just as much fun as I hope you guys are having this holiday season. Whether that holiday be Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, child sacrifices to an elder god, or just a quiet night in. Happy holidays, everybody! See you in 2019. Merry Christmas or Kwanzaa, everybody! Whew, this one was a real doozy. And if you enjoyed seeing me rip into this odd little holiday special, please press the like button and leave me a comment below about some of your own favorite holiday specials, be they weird, wonderful, or wonderfully weird. I'd also like to say a special thanks to Andrea Strauss, Keith McRae, Warren Miller, and Silvermoon Ravenwolf, as well as everyone else supporting my work over on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. And if there's still a bit of holiday generosity left in ya, you can find my Patreon link in the description below and see how you can support me with a small monthly donation in exchange for access to my in-progress feed for videos and sneak peeks of my other projects. And if you happen to be new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell to be notified of future videos. Because believe me, I've got plenty in mind for 2019. See you there, everybody. Bye-bye.